The world is in its usual state of turmoil, but until we begin to understand how to counteract this growing confusion and uncertainty, a major problem must be addressed. This problem is Islam. Islam is the world's second largest religion with over 1.7 billion followers around the world, and it was founded in 610 AD by a Middle Eastern warlord named Muhammad. Now, the history and legitimacy of Islam's roots are beside the point in this conversation, because the brunt of the problem Islam proposes is what is written in its holy books. And the issue that essentially oppresses civilization in the Middle East is the idea of Sharia, something most of you have heard of, but probably don't 100% understand. Sharia is known to all Muslims as the divine law. The Sharia comes from the Quran, which Muslims believe to be the actual and literal word of God. As well, they believe Sharia is the fixed law of God, and to alter it would be blasphemous. There is no concept of separation of church and state in true Islamic faith, because the judicial laws are to be Sharia, verbatim, in an Islamic nation. Sharia deems illegal the following actions: adultery, intoxicants, as well as board games like chess and others, fornication, not wearing your hijab or an un-Islamic dress, mingling of unrelated men and women, free speech, that is, speaking ill of the faith, Muhammad, and the Holy Scriptures, pornography and prostitution, music and other forms of art, homosexuality, apostasy, which is leaving the religion, and the punishments are very strict and clear. As well, they are part of what is considered Allah's law, and to be constituted or removed would be again blasphemous. The punishments for things like theft are amputation of hands, and is practiced today and justified by the Quran. The punishment for adultery is stoning to death. Homosexuality is generally first punished by a harsh beating, and if the offense occurs again, the death penalty is to be used. And as far as freedom of speech goes, even if a non-Muslim criticizes an aspect of the faith, it is blasphemy, which is punishable by death. And if a Muslim speaks ill of it, the actions would constitute as apostasy, and therefore he would be put to death. As well as amputations, beatings, lashings, stonings, and other Dark Age level punishments, crucifixion is seeing a resurgence in Islamic nations. In 2008, Gaza reinstituted crucifixion as a criminal punishment. It is also being used in Sudan, Iraq, Iran, and other countries as well. Now, let's look at things Sharia considers legal: domestic violence against women, gender disparity, polygamy, pedophilia, rape, religious discrimination, slavery, lying, terrorism, assassination, and murder. These are all allowed according to Islamic law. Husbands may beat their wives for many reasons, including rebellion or for fear of rebellion. In court, a woman's testimony counts for half of a male's. Polygamy is practiced and accepted. Women have no say in the matter. Muhammad was also a pedophile, and it is commonly accepted today to have sexual relations with prepubescent girls. And in the case of rape, it is well condoned based off of the idea that women are property. But if it is a woman who is not your slave or wife, rape is to be punished, but only if 4 witnesses can be produced, and in many cases, when they are unable to produce such witnesses, the woman is condemned for adultery and put to death. As well, lying and deception is even encouraged. Muhammad and his followers were guilty of, and even promote, murder and assassination as well. And these are just the criminal regulations. These Bronze Age ideas constitute everyday life of some Muslims as well. Now, many will argue that no one really accepts these things, just like no one in Christianity thinks that if you see your neighbor working on Sunday, that he should be killed, but that's just not true. Here are some numbers from a poll done by the Pew Research Center in 2013. In Russia, 56% of Muslims believe that Sharia is the revealed word of God. Bosnia, 52%, Kyrgyzstan, 69%, Tajikistan 60, Turkey 49, Indonesia 54, Pakistan 81, Jordan 81%, Egypt 75, Palestinian territories 75%. As well, in Russia, 56% also believe that there is only one interpretation of Sharia. In Bosnia, 56% as well, Tajikistan 70%, Afghanistan 67%, Pakistan 61%, and Lebanon 59%. These are not minorities. Here are the numbers of those in favor of making Sharia the law of the land. Russia 42%, Kyrgyzstan 35%, Malaysia 86%, Thailand 77%, Afghanistan 99%, Pakistan 84%, Bangladesh 82%, Iraq 91%, Palestinian territories 89%, Morocco 83%, Egypt 74%. These are ridiculous numbers. Here are the Muslims that favor corporal punishments for crimes like theft. 54% Kyrgyzstan, 66% Malaysia, 88% Pakistan, 81% in Afghanistan, 76% in the Palestinian territories. These are things like crucifixion, amputation, and stoning. I mean, come on. Stoning as punishment for adultery. 51% Tajikistan, 39% Kyrgyzstan, 60% in Malaysia, 51% in Thailand, 89% in Pakistan, 85% in Afghanistan, 55% in Bangladesh, 84% in the Palestinian territories, 81% in Egypt, 67% in Jordan, and 58% in Iraq. This is just ridiculous. Here are the numbers for the people who support the death penalty for leaving Islam. 62% in Malaysia, 79% in Afghanistan, 76% in Pakistan, 44% in Bangladesh, 86% in Egypt, and 82% in Jordan. 1% would be too much. And the fact that more than 50 think this is just ridiculous and something needs to be done. This is not the minority. It is estimated 1.1 billion Muslims support Sharia law. These ideas are not the minority. In fact, they are the majority. The only difference between jihadists and the so-called moderate Islamists is that the jihadists go out and do what their book actually says. The new radicalization of Islamism has strangled the beliefs of the younger generation and have produced a new view of Islam.
Everyone in the room, how many of you are normal Muslims? You're not extremists, you're not radical, this is normal Sunni Muslims. Please raise your hands. How many of you agree that the punishments described in the Quran and the Sunnah, whether it is death, whether it is stoning for adultery, whatever it is, if it is from Allah and His Messenger, that is the best punishment ever possible for humankind, and that is what we should apply in the world. Who agrees with that? All of you are saying that you are common Muslims, you all go to the different masajid Norway, or are you like a specific sect, like the Islam net sect or anything like that? Are you like that? No. Are you like that? Please raise your hand if you're like this extreme Islam net sect or anything like that. What is the media gonna say now? That we're all extremists? We're all radicals? We need to deport all of us from this country? Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. Takbir! Takbir! Takbir!
The problem in the Middle East is the idea that the religion is the law. Islam has become a totalitarian political entity that exchanges politics with religion, and to dispute this aspect of the religion would call for you to be put to death on account of blasphemy. Sharia is a medieval concept that should hold no bearing in legitimate policy or government. Christians do not impose Mosaic law in politics, and Sharia should be looked at as no different. It is a horrible, cancerous idea that should be ridiculed into extinction. But there is a difference between criticizing Islam and Muslims. One is the ideology, the religion, and the other is the group of people that follow that religion in varying ways. The books of Islam hold things that are detrimental to our society, and the fact that some Muslims can use this to justify atrocious evil is enough for us to put a stop to it. The issue that has taken notice is the debate between peaceful Muslims and non-peaceful Muslims, but the debate is between what Islam is, and Islam has fundamentally wrong ideas. So as is shown, this is not the minority by any means. These Muslims that are in favor of Sharia law have a completely warped view of society and life. The misconception is that the Muslims in favor of these things are the extremist Islamists, but in actuality it is not a small minority, and at Islam's very core are these tenets. There is an understanding with Christians in America that yes, you may hold your religious beliefs, but if they interfere with the secular law, the law rules. Islam has yet to come to this realization. Now, Sharia dictates how society should function, what people can eat and drink, who they can and can't rape, and how to punish offenders, along with other aspects of life. As was shown by the statistics, many Muslims are in favor of this law of life. This in itself is a deal breaker for Islam. But on top of Sharia, we see a phenomenon in the Muslim world known as terrorism. This terrorism we see coming from Islamic believers is caused by two bad ideas. The first bad idea is jihad. Jihad is an Islamic term that refers to the duty of all Muslims to maintain their religion. In Arabic, the literal meaning is to strive, to apply oneself, to struggle, to persevere. Many Muslims consider jihad as the internal struggle to simply live out the Islamic faith. Others take on the concept of jihad as a holy war, the struggle to defend Islam with force if necessary. And there are so many references to jihad as a military struggle in Islamic writing that it is incorrect to claim that the interpretation of jihad as holy war is wrong. There are many Muslims who read these scriptures and decide to live out what their writings say. This idea of jihad has led to the growing number of faith-based acts of violence and terror in the name of Allah. The contributing factor to jihad, which is the second bad idea I want to highlight, is a belief in martyrdom. A martyr is someone who is killed because of their faith, and in Islam, this is a great honor. A martyr is known as a shaheed in Islam. But the martyr's goal in their sacrifice is not to kill themselves, it is to kill as many infidels in battle as possible. And this is not only permitted, but encouraged. Those who die for their faith in Islam are said to be rewarded greatly in the afterlife. These scriptures are quite clear that martyrdom is a noble cause. Islam promotes the idea of dying for the expansion of Islam. Global jihad is bad enough. Combined with the confidence that if you fail, you will be rewarded with even greater luxuries, just affirms this trust. The Muslims who read the scriptures that condone killing unbelievers and promote the expansion of the true religion find this inspiration to kill in the texts. When these Muslims find that jihad is the idea that holy war should be imposed with force, they act upon it. And to reaffirm their confidence, they find out that if they die doing it, they get an even better reward. Jihad has become this ideology of holy war, and this idea is very dangerous for the rest of the world. When people believe God is on their side when killing non-believers, and that not until the entire world is Muslim will we have peace and happiness, there is a huge problem. The problem is with Islamists. The problem is with Islam. The problem is with the Muslims who justify their obscene acts while masquerading behind religion. Moderate Muslims are criticized for not speaking out against this terror and global jihad, though it is quite clear that if they do, they will be killed. And this is justified by the very tenets of Islam, which reaffirms my original point. Islam is the problem. Externalizing the issue will only leave the matter unresolved. We must address the problem for what it is. The theology of Islam and the way in which a large number of Muslims view it is the issue. There are a plethora of Muslim apologists that refuse to accept Islam as the problem. Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks continues to make the most warped, illogical defenses for Islam and continues to deflect the issue off of it. George Bush has said Islam is a religion of peace. Obama has stated that ISIS has nothing to do with Islam and has said, "And we are not at war with Islam. We are at war with people who have perverted Islam." This is not true. Islam is the common denominator with every one of our enemies in the Middle East. It is the ideology of Islam that leads people to support Sharia law, believe in martyrdom, and impose a global war on all non-Muslims. People have been killed over cartoons by this faith. We must address the problem for what it is and quit deflecting the blame off of it. Islam is the problem, faith is the problem, Sharia is the problem. If we get rid of these ridiculous ideas, we won't see a problem. Islam can be used in a very dangerous way, and until we start to treat it that way, nothing will get resolved.